Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this June 25th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon right here on the EOA network. And here in just a little bit, we are going to have Nick Vora and a special guest with him, Jerid Ployhar from the La Grande Fire Department. And they're going to be talking to us today about swift water rescues. Interesting. They got some interesting toys. So,
cool.
Yeah. How are you, man?
Cool. I'm good.
Yeah.
It's second Monday. I was hoping it was first Friday. Dang it.
It's warm today. I mean, it's supposed to be like up into the 80s or something.
It was beautiful this morning.
Yeah.
At 5:45 when I left the house.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a jacket on or anything.
Yeah. No.
Usually I got to wear a sweatshirt when I walk, but today I wore a long sleeve, so
Yeah.
it was nice.
Yeah. That is. Yeah, you're right. So do you have shorts and a long sleeve
Yeah.
on?
Yeah, I wanted to confuse myself today.
You dork.
Well, I knew it was going to be kind of chilly.
Right.
So, but I didn't want to wear a whole sweatshirt.
Right,
So
yeah.
I was like, I'll just wear a long
Yeah.
sleeve shirt. And I mean, it's not like people can see down. I could be in my boxers for all of
Well, that's right.
and they know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those Zoom meetings where people sit around in their skivvies and
Yeah.
like the most important work meeting of the year during COVID, and you're just sitting there drinking coffee with
Yeah.
what's that Bailey's?
Yeah. Have you seen any of those videos where the guy is like, he's got a green screen, but he's like riding his bike or something. I mean, he's doing something. There's videos where they're like supposed to be in an office meeting, okay, an office Zoom meeting, and he's got like the green screen prop behind him, but he's like riding his bike down the road.
Exercise. Oh, really? No.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just all kinds of different stupid stuff. Yeah.
Thunder at the Peak is like less than 2 weeks away.
Yep.
We got a little graphic from Buffalo Peak. Throw that up real quick, Gabe. July 4th. This is I want to say 4 of us streaming it. They'll have a cornhole tournament that starts at 5 at the Baptist Church in Union, and then they'll have the vendors open from 6 to 9 downtown, and then head on up the hill to the golf course, and the fireworks will start at dark. There's going to be a flyover confirmed by Donna Beveridge during the fireworks, I guess, or before, probably when it's
Who's
still
flying
lined
over?
up. I don't know. I just know a flyover.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would imagine some type of military
Yeah.
personnel. And then there'll be music and camaraderie. It'll be fun. We'll also stream it right here on the EOA Live network.
Yeah. Good. It's probably some dude in an ultralight.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me out there. You never know. Who knows, right? You never know.
Yeah.
Thunder at the Peak. It's exciting. It's cool. I like that they moved the fireworks out there.
Oh, it's funny. I was talking to the anesthesiologist. Anyhow, one of the nurse anesthesiologist up at the hospital I was talking to him, and he's got a friend who flies the biggest military plane that there is. They're based out of somewhere.
What is the biggest military?
It's like I don't know.
B-52?
No, it's like a C-5 or...
Oh, it's like a cargo plane?
Yeah,
A cargo plane that carries like vehicles?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
The nose tips up.
I don't know much about airplanes because I'm not interested in them because I don't like them.
Well, anyhow, here's the story. The story is so then Brad Close, I think is his name, up at the hospital. Okay, so he's got a friend who's actively in the service, who's one of the pilots. And like last year, he said, "Oh, you're in La Grande? Well, hey, we got to do some flying. We'll fly over today." And so, like, of course, Brad was the only one that knew they were coming, and they to
A big
pass through the
airplane?
valley.
Yesterday?
Yeah. No, this was like this last year, sometime this last year. Yeah,
I didn't notice.
yeah. I didn't either, but somebody did, I'm sure. It's like, what in the world?
You know what I haven't noticed lately, and I used to notice it all the time? Lifeline. I don't ever see Lifeline anymore.
Well, they're coming.
They're coming a different path, huh?
Well, no, they're since the helipad is closed at the hospital,
Right.
then they're going out of the airport.
So that's why I never see them.
So anybody who
Okay.
is
So then they're ambulancing people from the airport to the...
from the hospital, the ambulance from the airport. Yeah,
That just makes a lot of work for these
Makes
guys,
a lot
for
of
the
work.
fire department.
They're getting close,
The
though.
EMTs.
I mean, they're getting. I don't know. I mean, the hospital's planning on be totally opening in the fall. So, and their prediction earlier is that they were going to try and get the helipad opened first. So I don't.
That'd probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
That's another thing you'll never catch me in.
A helicopter?
I mean, unless I'm dying.
Yeah.
They got to fly me somewhere. Like, I won't know.
Yeah,
Give me
like,
all that good dope
they're like, hey,
and make me, like, not remember this,
Yeah,
please.
it's like, okay, let's put him out. He's not going to
You
work.
can't even eject from a helicopter. What are you
can't.
supposed to do?
Eject?
You don't have an ejector seat. You'll hit the... No.
Yeah. Well, you know, helicopters have the ability to glide. Did you know
Okay.
that?
Yeah.
That doesn't really help.
You haven't got me convinced. My ex-wife's cousin died in a helicopter crash in Albany. They were spraying and got caught up in the power lines.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, like, I don't know, man. You know, you hear, like, you don't hear a lot, but if you look at the numbers, like, how many celebrities have died in small aircraft?
Yeah.
A lot.
Right. Yeah.
So count all the people that aren't celebrities. Okay? You know what I mean? Like, no.
Yeah.
Nah, not doing it. Not doing it.
All right. Well, hey, we should
do
get
it.
on. Yep. Do sports.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit in LeGrand, 411 First Street. It's really cool. Right now, here's a picture of the owner, Joe, who's also my brother-in-law. And right now, they have the Traxxas Slash Mud Boss Dirt Oval Racer. It's engineered to deliver competition-tuned track performance right out of the box. These things go like 70 miles an hour if you have the right batteries. It's crazy. I've raced one against a drone on the beach and smoked the drone.
You did?
Smoked it, yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, this was like a long, back in the, probably like 10 years ago, but yeah, it smokes. And drones go about 35 miles an hour.
They go a lot faster now, but.
Oh, dude. Okay, back then they did.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about them.
Right, yeah.
But anyways, Hobby Habit right here in LeGrand, 411 First Street, just for the fun of it. How about a Peasley update? Minicamp is over. Peasley's currently number 4 on the depth chart. I saw somebody around here reported that he's number 3 on the depth chart. I don't know where they got that, but he is most definitely number 4 on the depth chart. Aaron Rodgers is number 1, a future Hall of Famer. Tyrod Taylor's 2. Jordan Travis is 3, and then Peasley. The thing that might work in Peasley's favor moving into the preseason is Jordan Travis is coming off of a serious leg injury at the end of last season. Tyrod Taylor's known to have injuries, and Aaron Rodgers had his Achilles repaired a year ago. You know what I mean? He missed the whole season. So Peasley is probably going to get some substantial time during the preseason, which would be great for him. I mean,
that'd be awesome.
If he can pull something off in the preseason, like what he did on Thanksgiving, you know, when he was at Utah State.
Right, yeah.
That would be, you know what I mean? Like, it might secure him a roster spot, but you never know. Coming up this summer, something cool. And I've been trying to secure this, and it's kind of my fault because I haven't really, it's during a really hard time of the year because the only time I see him is at Shrine Game. But I talked with his son last night, and I am most definitely going to get Baker City Hero and World Series champ Joe Rudy in studio this summer.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that I'm excited about that. I've been waiting. I want to ask him. There's a lot of questions I want to ask him because there's like some old tales that go around town about him. You know, he coached against me. He flew from the old timers game where he hit a home run and then coached against us in All Stars that night.
Huh.
So there's just like some of those questions where I want to like confirm.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it'll be cool. Shrine 2024 is 1 month and 2 days away. The East and the West rosters are finalized. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be replacements, because there will. The cheerleaders are finalized, and on July 27th, streaming will start at 6 p.m. I'll be on color, and my play-by-play for the 4th straight year, this will be our 4th year together, will be Willie Mack. Here's Will with a message for potential sponsors and advertisers.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to go.
Okay, so maybe that wasn't Will with a special message. That was the wrong video. But anyways, if you're interested in advertising or sponsoring, just get a hold of us right here, office@eolive.tv or Kyle@eolive.tv, and we'll get you taken care of. It's a great opportunity. It's regional coverage. There's quite a bit of views. There's players from all over the state, including we have a kid on the team from Elgin, a couple kids from Baker, a couple kids from Pendleton, nobody from LeGrand, unfortunately. And I think that's because we had a new head coach this year, and he didn't know that you have to nominate players for this game. But I could be wrong. I don't know. We didn't have a great year in football, but I would assume that it's probably because we just didn't get somebody nominated. And then finally, the way I've been ending every sports show for about the last month, Cade's Courage, if you have the means, scan the QR code, go to their GoFundMe and help the McKinley family out. Cade is going to be a sophomore three-sport athlete at the high school here in LeGrand, and he is battling a form of Ewing sarcoma cancer, and the family's going to need help. And if you don't like GoFundMe or you don't want to use GoFundMe, go to US Bank, tell them you're there for Cade's Courage or for the McKinley family. That's the AM Sports Report, brought to you by Hobby Habit, just for the fun of it.
All right. Good stuff, man. Let's take a look outside. It's beautiful out there.
It's going to be a burner today.
Yeah.
Huh?
And then let's take a
Sunshine, I
look.
love it.
Look at the forecast here. So 90 today.
Woo! I got the AC running already.
Yeah. And then the rest of the week, it's going to be pretty warm.
Beautiful.
Yeah, pretty warm. And
not getting cold at night.
Yeah.
I mean, tonight's only going to get down to 57.
Yeah.
A week ago, we were like in the 30s.
Yeah. Maybe summer's here. Who knows?
You just jinxed it.
Yeah.
It's going to rain now. Clouds probably already forming out there.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, hey, right after this, when we come back, we're gonna have Nick Vora and Jerid Ployhar with us from LeGrand Fire. Did I say that? No, I'm sorry. Ployhar. Yeah. And they'll be with us talking about swift water rescue. We'll be right back right after this.
Eastern Oregon is full of interesting people, with interesting minds and interesting things to say. Here at EO Live, we're committed to connecting you to these intriguing people with EO Talks. We let our special guests share their ideas and life experiences with deep, open, engaging, and inquisitive conversations. You'll also be informed in depth on some of the most recent and relevant events, issues, and more. EO Talks on EO Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku.
All right, we're back. How are you, man?
Excellent.
Good.
How about yourself?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. So, Nick Vora is the Emergency Services, I know, still don't have
County
it.
County Emergency Manager.
Union County Emergency Manager. Okay, yeah. And Jerid, you are the shift captain for the LeGrand Fire Department.
Correct.
Correct, right?
One of the
Yeah.
Shift captains. Yep.
Yeah. Well, great to have you guys with us. And Nick, as we know from talking to you in the past, you're involved in, and I was going to say fingers in a lot of pies, but you're involved with just a lot of different. They all have a theme that has to do with either law enforcement or rescue, or that's kind of your juice, right?
Yeah. So, and when I was thinking about who would be a good person to bring with me this morning, in the past we've had Willie Crippen talking about Community Wildfire Protection Plan and the wildfire side of things, and then we had Kyle Tucker last time talking a lot about search and rescue and kind of also the volunteer fire side of things. And then I thought Jerid would be excellent to come along and bring a slightly different perspective coming from the City of LeGrand Fire Department. I can let him tell you a little bit about kind of how they operate and et cetera, but also our partnership with our water rescue team, which really the search and rescue and emergency services and LeGrand Fire are all really key.
So let's back up just a little bit. Tell me what has existed in the past in the area of water rescue and how we got to here. Do you want to take that?
Sure. So in the past, we've always been called to all the water rescues, but we've never had the people trained to actually go into the water. We've just been a shore-based operation that had you get a car in the water, we would be putting ourselves at risk.
Okay.
More of a risk than having a couple people trained and having a team. So now that we've got a team, we're able to do kind of what Wallowa County does and actually go out into the water
Okay.
and grab someone or recover
And so
somebody.
then talk about how did the partnership happen? How did,
So I've got some photos
Yeah,
here
yeah.
of if you guys are ready for them, of some kind of the build up to where we are
Good,
today.
okay.
And so our first one here is when we're able to get it up on the screen. We had a call in Riverside Park several years ago where.
So Gabe, can you put that slide up? Can you put the yeah? There we go. Thank you.
Okay. So we had a call in Riverside Park several years ago where unfortunately had a tragic outcome with the drowning. We can see in this photo here we have multiple agencies involved, from City Fire Department. The boat in the river is Wallowa County's Swiftwater Rescue Team that came over and was helping us out, and the boat downstream is also with Wallowa County. And these are some other photos from that rescue attempt.
Did somebody fall in accidentally, or were they in the water on purpose? 'Cause
No, so it was.
that looks cool.
It actually started with a foot pursuit with a fugitive. Yes, farther upriver.
I was going to say, I don't think somebody was just out there taking a little swim.
And
in Riverside
he
Park
tried
that
to escape into the river.
Gotcha.
And I think the current was a little bit more than he anticipated.
Yeah, that time of year, it's running.
So at this time, we didn't have swiftwater rescue capabilities in Union County. So we are very fortunate for our partnership with Wallowa County, where they came over as fast as they could and helped us out with that. And then this is another situation that we had where this is Highway 244 right near Hillgard.
Okay.
Where this Jeep left the roadway, went into the river. There was an adult as well as some very young children occupying it. And that was a really close call. As you can see the photo here where the water was in relation to the vehicle, almost being able to push it over or move it downstream. And also you can see as far as everybody there doing their best to try and get people out of that quickly, but not having a lot of equipment to be able to operate in these type of environments definitely places people at an elevated risk, because people are going to try and help. They're not going to watch and just let something tragic happen. So through instances like these, this was a vehicle in the river on the Grand Ronde up the interstate. This is the second one. The water is lower, but it's a similar circumstance. So because of those instances, the Captain Ployhar came to me and said, "Hey, Nick," and really it was Jared's initiation. It was something that I'd been thinking about for a long time that we had needed, but hadn't really gotten that kick in the pants to make it happen. And then when Jared suggested that, well, we really need to do something, then we kind of put our heads together and thought about what that might look like and go from there. And then also Wallowa County was key with helping us get going by loaning us equipment and also letting us join them with training.
Wow. So why was Wallowa County ahead of you guys? I mean, what caused them to be further in this training than us? I mean, they have more bodies of water, or what? I mean, that's curious.
Search and rescue teams in Eastern Oregon, somewhat organically specialize in different things that
Makes
their teams
sense.
tend to gravitate towards. So most agencies have some form of a rope rescue team, etc. But specifically, like Baker County has dive rescue. and Wallowa County had swiftwater rescue.
Okay,
And
interesting.
Union County has a quite extensive technical rescue as far as rope rescue team, and we often provide mutual aid regionally to each other in the disciplines where we happen to have the skills and equipment. But Wallowa County, because of having the Wallowa River and a lot of the Grand Ronde
Right,
River,
okay.
they have generally quite a bit of swiftwater rescue or overdue boater type calls
Okay.
that led to them really having a need for a team.
And dive rescue, meaning they have divers. if
So
somebody's
that would
submerged.
be, yeah, so if you think of water rescue, like what Jared and I do, that's above water.
Right.
And then if you need to do something under the surface, then that's where dive
Okay.
comes in.
Cool. And technical rescue, which you guys were talking about, would be like if somebody fell off a cliff or somebody is that kind of.
That's technical rescue can be a pretty broad umbrella from trench to confined space and
Okay.
vehicle extrication, but I used it a little bit generously there, but specifically rope rescue,
Okay.
high angle rescue
Okay.
type stuff. Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
How many swift water rescues a year?
In
Yeah, like
Northeast Oregon,
well,
Union
that
County.
you guys respond to. So whether it's here or mutual aid,
So Jared, you might need to help me out with
roughly,
this. But
like just a
we've-
guess.
It's kind of one of those rare situations.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two. We've actually had a couple call outs for mutual aid to Umatilla County. Even Wheeler County called us to try to send a crew to help them out. But we get a couple cars in the river a year
Right.
that we potentially could use the team to
So,
access them.
so how hard is it to keep people prepared? Like it's kind of like in baseball, you go up, you might not get a ball the whole game if you're playing right field, right?
Right.
But you have to anticipate and be prepared. So how hard is that for you guys?
It's difficult. We try to train when the river's up, so it's more realistic. We've been doing 2 to 4 hours a month during the springtime while the river's up at Riverside Park as a team, trying to prep ourselves.
Very cool.
Now that the river's down, we'll not train for a little bit, and then when it gets back up in the fall, we'll be back out training.
Gotcha.
And I've got some photos from some training that we've done as far as with the certification process.
Yeah. Okay. Well, go ahead. Tell us more about. Let's get back to the photos, Gabe, and tell us what's going on here. Yeah.
So this here is a photo from our initial training. This is half Wallowa County water team members and then some from Union County, and this was where they initially invited us to join them and loaned us all the gear to make it possible. So we really owe a lot to them to this. So this is an example of the type of drills that we do, where having a tethered rescue swimmer go get someone in the water, that type of stuff.
So it looks like he's floating, but actually,
No,
you
he's
just
just
captured
jumping,
the,
yep.
yeah, you just captured the photo just as he's hitting the water, right? Yeah.
Yep.
That's
What's that thing on his back?
So it's a rope, and that's
to pull him
tied
back out,
to the
right,
back of
yeah.
his life vest.
It
and-
just happens to be straight
Right,
up and down.
right.
It looks like a pole.
yeah. No, that's a funny photo. Yeah.
That is a funny picture.
So this is a similar type of drill, but doing it here in LeGrand.
Yeah.
And then this is an example of kind of the personal kit or gear that we have, that all the Swiftwater technicians on the team. And the team is made up of LeGrand Fire Department, Union County Search and Rescue, and Union County Marine Patrol staff. Those are the kind of the three components of it. And we're all equipped the same, with the same gear. It's all interchangeable. So we have dry suit, rescue PFD, and then some wading shoes, helmet,
Wow.
stuff like that. And then we also were fortunate to be able to get some inflatable watercraft. So this right here, Jared brought to my attention. When we were looking for some stuff, it's called an ASR 155, and this here was some doing an in-service training on it when we were getting it placed at the City of LeGrand Fire Department. So we have equipment shared around with different agencies to make sure that we can get stuff out the door quickly.
So
Why is
what's-
it shaped
yeah,
like that?
Yeah. What's the funky design
Yeah,
for it?
what's the purpose of that?
Yeah, so it's shaped like that. It's able to handle any rapids where if you get into a rapid, the front or back's not going to get
tipping.
sucked down into a rapid. We're actually on a flat platform there. That's me and Chris Berthelsen, one of our other members, but we can pull a victim, whether conscious or unconscious, up through the middle
I was going to say,
of
yeah,
those
that's
and get them
clever.
right onto.
Right.
So, like in a traditional raft, you're having to hoist them up over the top
Right,
or the
right.
side. We can just slide them onto the platform we're on, and not have to do the extra work.
No, that's super clever. And so then, how long does it take to inflate that raft? And Gabe, put the one up where you have the slide in the middle as they're talking. Yeah. So how long does it take to prepare that particular? So you inflate it clearly. How long? Yeah.
If we have a team set up, it would take us probably 2 minutes to unfold it and get a barrel pump out,
Yeah.
get it pumped up, and then
Yeah.
a minute to get it out, tied
Yeah.
off and out into the water.
Wow. So all of this stuff, and that's kind of what you were saying. All of this stuff, it's one thing to have the gear. It's a whole nother thing to be able to get it deployed quickly.
Exactly, and that's really where our partnership between the agencies is key.
Right.
So search and rescue has people, but they're all volunteers who are leaving their jobs, their homes, wherever that might be, to respond to an emergency, and that takes time.
Right.
There's no way to avoid that.
Right.
Whereas the city fire department, they can get out the door very quickly, so they can get some resources, something like this boat on scene, and then the cavalry, being SAR or the other support, are showing up to provide that personnel. So just trying to get help where it's needed as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And then we also have some other watercraft that we've been fortunate to get. The gray raft you see in that photo was a community donation to our water rescue team. So that's great for if we need to do something that's a little bit more extended, such as floating down the Grand Ronde River or checking to see for on an overdue boater or something like that. And then we also that's just more photos of that, and you can kind of see in the background of this photo. But I've got later on some photos of some of the kayaks that we have. They're basically a conventional inflatable kayak that it's a really good platform for doing anything in white water, just because it's very stable and just great for one person to be highly maneuverable.
Yeah. Now, do you have any powered boats? Because there are some of those rescues that they actually go in downstream, right, and power up the river. Is that?
So in the county, having Marine Patrol on our Swiftwater rescue team allows us to have, Deputy Tad Butcher is the Union County Marine Patrol deputy. So he has an outboard jet drive boat through the sheriff's office that can be at our disposal if needed.
Okay.
There's a variety of resources in the region as well. A lot of times, though, for like the really quick, got to go and grab someone in the river, getting access for the boat to get to the river, especially a motorboat in the Grand Ronde River, there's some pretty significant obstacles in places that could impede a lot of travel, depending on where you're needing to go.
Right. And they've used the power boats a lot. I mean, if you have, kind of down in the Troy area. I mean, it's if they have a rescue or a recovery that they're having to do. I mean, am I thinking correctly? They'll send a power boat up the river and for the recoveries and such.
So potentially in that rescues in that part of the world, I haven't been involved with all that extensively. So I'm speaking from a relatively small amount of experience there, but that when you have higher flows, definitely, and deeper water where you're hitting fewer rocks with your boat, that definitely is more conducive to a power boat.
Yeah. Now, do either one of you like raft for hobby? I mean, is that?
I don't. Typically once a year or every other year, I'll go over to Idaho and do a Swiftwater raft with a guided.
Just like for enjoyment?
Just for fun, yeah. Which we were hoping to go this year. We haven't yet.
Yeah.
But last year we did. So.
Yeah.
That kind of plays into my next question.
Yeah.
I used to raft for hobby. About like 6 years ago, I almost died on the North Sandy Am. Like for reals. And it scared me so bad that I haven't gotten near a raft again. But like when you guys have, like if I would have had to, if they would have had to rescue me there, it would have taken probably an hour for somebody to get there. Like seriously, the North Sandy Am way up by the park, it really would have. And how do you guys like? Do you have like a way to get there faster than car?
So, as far, I guess really depends on location. And I've got some photos of some incidents in the past 12 months or so that our team has responded to.
Let's go back to the photos then.
And so our first one would be a call we had last June that I think we've discussed previously on the show, where there's a very tragic circumstance where a tree fell across some people on the bank of the river. So they did not get in trouble in the river necessarily, but we had no way of accessing them other than the river.
Right.
And I believe that call came in around 6 or 6:30, somewhere about there in the morning. And so this photo here is Wallowa County, and then with City of LeGrand personnel on the boat. And then we also had search and rescue going along in some kayaks to access that. And Jared, do you recall approximately how long that float took from where the put-in to reaching the scene?
It was a couple hours, it seemed like.
Right.
And when call first came in, we got Life Flight through their coordination with them to fly 2 of our members with Swiftwater gear in to the scene to see if we could have them drop us off, and they just weren't able to with the steep canyons and some wind. That's when we decided to raft in. But
Wow.
to your car, fastest way other than a car, we did try helicopter.
So when like obviously if you're sitting there waiting for 2 hours or whatever, you're in distress. Whoever the person is, say like a vehicle's underwater. What do you recommend? Like people, like you seem like survival people. Like, what do you recommend for people to like carry? There's these tools that you can buy. Like, what should people have on them when they're driving, especially like in areas where there's a chance that they end up in the water?
There is they claim the headrest, you can pull them off, and your car is designed to the front end to sink first, and you can use that headrest to punch out your back window while the front end goes underwater. And then you can climb out through the back.
The headrest.
I have not tried that or seen anybody do it. But
I've watched a lot of YouTube videos of like people using the little tools,
Yeah, you
and
can
they always
carry a
say you
tool,
got to go to
but-
the corner, not the middle of the window, because the window's weaker in the corners. And I was just wondering because like that feeling would be absolutely horrible.
The commercial glass breakers definitely work well as seatbelt cutters if for some reason your seatbelt were to be jammed. So one of the things with a vehicle into the water, it's important that either if you can get the door open really quick before you have a huge amount of water pressure up against it,
pressure, yeah.
or conserving your energy and waiting for the pressure to equalize. Because if your car's underwater and the car's still full of air and you're trying to push the door open, it's taking an incredible amount of strength to do that. So kind of trying to compose yourself, that would be a very traumatic experience for anyone, and to get the door open or get through a window. But essentially in those types of circumstances, car in the water type of thing, that individual getting out is going to be, and even if they can get out and get on top of their car or something like that, and then we can come get them. But that's we won't be able to get there in 30 seconds from it happening. That's somewhat impossible.
But I think the lesson here, though, is that in Eastern Oregon, it doesn't matter if you're going hiking, if you're going, wherever it is that you're going, if there's some remoteness to it, and there's some kind of an emergency, it's going to be a bit before somebody can get to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very excellent point. And and if we can go back to the pictures here, if people can see this an example from that same rescue with your question about quick access. So we had to float to them because there was no area to land. You can see to some extent what the terrain is like in that area. But we were able to float the party down to this gravel bar. And you can see there's a National Guard Black Hawk helicopter from Salem that's up in the air, and then a life flight helicopter on the ground. So they flew to the patients to 2 separate hospitals based on their condition. But we did have 2 aircraft on that. It's just they were not able to land anywhere near.
Yeah, you can see them both right there in the picture.
Where the incident was, and we had to transport them by whitewater raft. Down to the landing zone.
When I was in the North Santiam, that's how I got. You couldn't get out of the river for probably like 3 hours.
Right.
It was just brambles on both sides.
Yeah.
And that's how I got out. I had a fully torn quad muscle, and I couldn't walk very well. And I was on a single person pontoon.
Oh, like a
and
cataract.
My ex-wife and the kids were on a big raft, and we switched because there's no way I could have rode that pontoon down the rest of the river. Man, that water's real, man. I'm not lying. I've almost died twice in the water. 2 times.
I got a similar story, but I won't get into it. Yeah, but no, but still, the remoteness of these things, people just don't think about. Whatever it might be. I mean, it's like, oh, hey, let's go backpacking, and you know, most of the time you don't get yourself into a jam, but if you do, you got to be able to take care of yourself for a while. I mean, so basic first aid, how to keep yourself alive, how to keep yourself warm if you're in shock. I mean, all of those things just really come into play. So
Yeah, certainly.
All right. Well, hey, let's go back to the photos. Yeah.
Okay. So these are just a few other recent calls that we've had in the past years. An example of kind of some of the deployments that our team has cooperatively responded to. This was mutual aid to Umatilla County, vehicle in the river. When you look at this initially, you might think worst case scenario, but fortunately there were no fatalities from this.
Wow.
Is that the most common call, is vehicle in the water?
So far the past year, we've been all over the place with overdue boaters. We've had the vehicle, and then this mutual aid call, the photo on the screen right now in Wheeler County. So, but Jared, I think probably, would you say vehicles are probably one of the more common ones?
Yeah, for
Certainly.
our department, it's the vehicle into the river because our
Because you got the river running right by the highways and right by the freeway.
Yeah,
and
towards
that makes
Starkey, you
sense.
go by the river pretty close, and
Right.
when it's high, you're at risk to go into it.
And in this case, recently in Wheeler County, had a very tragic outcome with a drowning. We went down there and assisted them in the search for that as well, along with Deschutes County. That's photos of some Deschutes County dive team members that we are working with and on that incident. So
Deschutes County probably knows how to handle swiftwater.
they have a lot of swiftwater calls.
I mean, they have mop. You know what I mean? Like they got a lot of rafters coming through.
Yeah,
there.
they're a very busy team.
Yeah, that river's got a couple pairs of my glasses.
Yeah. That's the one that I had a call to Jesus on.
love
was
that
the Deschutes
river,
River,
man.
man.
I love it.
Because it was
It's the
So
best.
yeah, I bounced down through a class 4 rapids. We dumped the boat at the top, and that mile down the road is like, so
It can get hairy. All right, here's a weird question. I guess it's not weird, but I mean, if I'm thinking of it, other people might be thinking of it. So say you get a call, right, for it could be any kind of rescue, whatever. The ending is not what we hope for, okay? What do you do with your guys to kind of bring them back? Like what are you guys
that's a good
doing
question.
to unwind? You know what I mean? Like to kind of debrief when you're out there and you're trying to save somebody's life and they don't make it.
Yeah, so this is a pretty standard almost day for us, whether it's crash, some kind of weird rescue, backcountry, or just something in town that's, a heart attack. We tend to do after action reviews with the shift, and then our city does real good getting us, if we need counseling or group therapy type stuff to kind of decompress.
Yeah.
And we'll visit it just about at the table, even at dinner time, just to kind of get it off your mind and move on to the next one.
Would you say like people in your field, like especially like people that are on rescue teams or responding to trauma type events, like have to have a ability to compartmentalize?
Yeah, you do. Mental health has been kind of the big struggle in the fire service the last
Absolutely.
30 years, and it's get more and more help for us really nationwide. But it's something that can change someone's life or career.
Absolutely.
And get them out of it.
That's why I asked, because it's like you think about it, like I always think back to when that bus crashed up with the tourists on
Yeah.
it. And my best friend was on that call. I had dinner with him that night, and he was fine. He seemed fine to me, and I was dumbfounded because I'm like, there's dead people on the side of a mountain, and you're just okay, like. But it could have been just him not that might have been his way of dealing with it.
Yeah, we do a really good job in Union County, I think, of Jared mentioned with critical incident debriefing is what we call it, where if we do have a really significant or traumatic type of event, of having a professionally facilitated debrief.
So there's a protocol that you follow?
Yes, it's not just like a slap on the back and say like, you good, man? It's more of it's formal.
Right. Yeah.
And that's important too, because some people maybe don't want to talk about what they're feeling or processing in a group environment, but they might talk with a close friend. But we do have facilitated critical incident debriefs. I've participated in many for incidents that we've had locally, and initially you might not think like, oh, I'm fine, and maybe this incident you mentioned, that would have been your friend's reaction too, is I'm okay.
Yeah.
But then when you actually go to the debrief and talk about it and kind of have that release of whatever stress and tension you've been keeping bottled up, you definitely feel a little bit of relief after it. And I think it's really important. I'm really glad that the city of LeGrand and county all participate in those.
Yeah. Have there ever been some times where, because when you're rescuing people, you're taking risks. I mean, there's certainly a part of what you're doing that is you're risking your safety to help other people that are in more of a dire situation than you are. Yeah. And have there I mean, maybe help us appreciate some of the common risk that water rescue people take just as part of their regular activities.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's kind of a tough question. Yeah.
So I think that from a training standpoint,
Yeah.
we focus on being prepared, so that when we're showing up to something, we can already have a plan in mind where we've seen something. We haven't seen this before, certainly, because everything is slightly different, but we've seen something like it.
Okay.
And some box that we can try to put it in as far as a plan goes.
Right.
On how we're going to approach it, a strategy. But like I mentioned before, and you allude to, everything's different, and there's a risk with everything. But there's so much safety that's also built into, as far as having our training, knowing what we can safely do and what
Right.
we can't safely do.
Right.
And then as far as our equipment goes too, if we end up having time here, we have some things we can show you as far as gear goes that
Right.
helps keep us safe.
Yeah.
And so as far as that goes, we are able to mitigate things fairly well. And really, if you look at statistics, the most dangerous thing we do is drive to the call. I mean, that is,
That's funny.
and we like to think, as far as in fire service or water rescue, like when we're slaying the dragon, so to speak, on a fire or something like that, that there's certainly risk there, but it's very well mitigated risk. And driving to a scene, there's a lot of things we can't mitigate the other people on the road.
Right.
And statistically, it's not it doesn't sound as dramatic, but that is one of the most dangerous things we do is drive.
I would imagine though water is almost as unpredictable as people driving. I mean,
It is.
because water's you never know what water's going to do. It's crazy. It's got a mind of its own.
Yeah, the thing with water is just so powerful and it's relentless. And as they taught us in the Swiftwater class, is once you get in trouble in it, it never lets up. It'll
Right.
never stop flowing to give you a break to get out until you get the
It
help
almost
to get
teases
out.
you too. Like
Yeah.
it'll give you a little chance, and then boom, right. I was caught in an undertow, and it was like I'm a really strong swimmer. I grew up pool, beach. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean. It don't matter how good of a swimmer you are when water decides to rear its head, for sure.
And I think water rescues are probably one of the more dangerous types of rescues we do. I think especially trying to prevent people who are not trained or equipped to try and do something, because everybody is going to want to help.
Of course,
and
yeah.
just standing on the bank watching something happen that's maybe just feet from you is really hard.
Yeah.
So that was a huge amount of credit to Jared for really bringing it to my attention and saying, Nick, let's work together and let's make something happen here with the team, because I definitely could have seen if we hadn't formed a team and hadn't formed a resource where people knew that someone was coming, then people would try to do something. And I think the risk of having one of our local first responders become a casualty trying to help was really high. And so that's something that I'm glad we've been able to take some steps. And I think also a lot of credit goes to City of LeGrand Fire Department, with Chief Cornford and the Sheriff's Office, with Sheriff Cody Bowen, to working together administratively, because in a lot of places a relationship like this wouldn't necessarily be possible. There'd be too much red tape. Saying, oh, we can't have Marine Patrol and the fire department and search and rescue like working together with the same team, same uniform. Like that's a lot of places that wouldn't happen, but they had the attitude of let's just do what needs to be done to help people. And so I'm really grateful for that.
That is awesome, and that's an awesome point for the benefits of being in a small community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's something a lot of people wouldn't realize. Yeah.
Have you ever had to rescue, like, say, like Billy Bob's driving down the road and he sees a car, right? And he's going to be Superman that day and jumps out into the water. Have you ever come across that? Like where you had to rescue the rescuer?
We have not personally really come across that, but it's every incident has that potential.
Absolutely, because it's human nature to want to help people.
Water rescue, house fire. Someone wants to go in or jump into the water and help.
Right. Well, and
The
there's
potential's there.
And there's that, they portray that in movies all the time. Where car goes under, you're hoping that they're going to get out. Are they going to get out? Are they going to, And every person at one point or another is going to be like, I'm going to stand here and watch this totally fail, or am I going to take a chance?
I'm going to do something. Yeah. Cody says teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. So hey, show us some of show us some of your equipment. I was going to call them toys, but they're not. Yeah, it's equipment.
So, like, this is just an example of something. People are like, "What on earth is this?" So, this is just half of the. This is an 8-foot long slingshot, essentially. So you can think of circumstances. The very first photo that I showed, there were some lines across the river that we are using to position Wallowa County's boat on that call.
Right.
This right here, essentially, it's
hold
a slingshot
that end of it that way.
with
Yeah,
the trigger.
So people can.
That so this can stretch out, and with the trigger on it, where we can put a line. It's approximately like a 1 pound weight.
Okay.
Just a fabric pouch full of steel shot. And this can shoot at several hundred yards. So across any river that we have locally here, and then you have a messenger line, and then we can pull other lines as far as positioning boats. So this is kind of an unusual piece of gear that isn't part of like your normal rescue. You don't think of this showing up on a fire truck necessarily, but this is something that we carried it to help us facilitate access for Swiftwater stuff. And then Jared also
You might have to leave that here so sure it's up to standard.
as an example of the vests that we use. And so, Jared, I'll let you kind of explain some of the features that makes this different from a regular like a regular PFD someone might wear recreational?
Yeah, so most recreational ones are more of like a class 1 or 2 rating. This one's, I think, a 4 or 5 Coast Guard rating. So it's got a little more buoyant float for us. We do have on the back, we call it a live bait ring. It's something we can hook a tether to, which pulls us back. But if we get in trouble, we actually have a release that'll kick that free, let the ring go, and then we're back to just floating on the vest, and we're not tied to shore.
So it just lets that whole strap go?
Lets the whole strap
Yeah.
in the rope. That way, if your rope got tangled up in
Yeah,
a
you're in
tree,
trouble. Yeah, you
started
gotta-
pulling you down. And then we got your standard whitewater helmet. So any operation that our shore-based guys, even if they're within 10 feet of the water, have to have a rated PFD on. So we carry a bunch of these at the station. Our rescue has them, and then each of us personally has one.
So when he says PFD, personal flotation device, but also a life jacket.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. You got anything else
And
to
then
add?
also one thing you'll note here is, as far as we carry a whistle, on a lot of times in whitewater, you think of trying to yell, even just yell to someone standing on the other side of a river. There's all sorts of jokes about miscommunication with that, and so we do a lot of hand signals as far as gestures for commands as well as whistles. Because that's something that you can hear a lot better over just someone trying to yell.
And you probably ain't taking a radio out.
That's generally if you're going in the water.
Yeah.
And also you'll notice he's got a knife on his vest. And you might think of like, man, you're in the water and dealing with ropes. But just like having the ring that you can pull on that release to free yourself, there's nothing worse than being trapped in the water or tangled in a rope. Maybe someone very well-intentioned, you wanted them to throw you a rope, you caught it, and now it's tangled in a tree that's under the water that you didn't see and your leg. And being able to free yourself from that. So
save
knives
your life.
and that type of stuff are really important. So that's all type of gear that we have that we just carry with us. And then also on our dry suits, we have a throw bag that has some rope. So we all wear one on us so that we can throw a rope to someone else. And then on all of our watercraft, so we have 2 inflatable kayaks, an inflatable raft, and then that yellow, we call it the banana boat, for lack of a better term.
It kind of looks like a banana. It checks out.
So we keep throw bags on all of those boats as well, because those are really handy to get lines to shore or lines from shore to the boat or etc.
So talk to me about funding. How is this equipment bought? And
So initially with a Wild Horse Foundation grant is what really was our seed money that allowed us to get all the equipment that Jared showed you just now was stuff that we were able to purchase with that Wild Horse grant for our initial team members. So huge thanks to them for making this possible.
So how much would that outfit
So it's
cost approximately right there?
about $2,000 to $2,500 per person.
Wow.
That
Okay.
much?
And as far as the gear, so we have dry suits, boots,
whole
socks,
the whole kit.
and
Okay, yeah.
helmet, and so there's it's quite a bit of gear. And so about that per person, and then also the Union County commissioners awarded to emergency services some pass-through. It's called Title III through the Secure Rural Schools Act federal funding that we use to purchase the watercraft, so our inflatable kayaks and that yellow boat. And so we were able to use that funding and also to equip our newer members of the team as far as Marine Patrol. And then Cody Solani with the LeGrand Fire Department just got back from his Swiftwater Technician certification as well. So
Which all of that cost funds.
And yeah, so those are substantially the 2 funding sources, and then Union County and City of LeGrand have certainly the staff time needs to be mentioned as well. That they've made very substantial commitments as far as sending their people to training, in addition to backfilling when they go to training. So.
Wow.
Do we have anybody on Union County SAR that is certified to dive?
So we have people who, in past lives, for lack of a better term,
Right.
have been rescue divers and certified divers. But we, as a search and rescue team, do not maintain a dive team.
So we outsource for that.
So that's something that we go to Baker County
Okay.
for as far as that. So from the economic standpoint of yes, do what you do best and trade for the rest type of thing. As so, we would be more than happy anytime to respond to Baker County to assist them with swiftwater type stuff, and they have always been very generous and willing to respond to help us with dive.
Wow.
Rescue.
So, in all of this, and I know this is one of your skills, all of these fundings, I mean, as you see a need, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but as you see a need of gear or something that's going to help develop rescuing or help develop this, then you kind of have a knack for looking for funds. Is that true?
So I can
would you agree with that?
True.
Yeah,
It's
right.
very much true.
Yeah.
I consider that part of my job as an emergency manager. The best way I can describe what I do is trying to facilitate the success of our first responders, and particularly in a rural community where we don't have a lot of just internal funding from a tax base that's searching for and doing what I can to secure funds. So I've been very lucky and fortunate, but it also I have a really good team behind me that allows me to justify the need as far as partners like LeGrand Fire.
Yeah.
So when people see that they're part of what I'm asking for funds for, I think they're much more likely rather than just Nick asking for money.
Right.
So, and recently, Wild Horse Foundation also very generously gave us a $10,000 grant for Union County EMS staff. So, for example, the Grand Fire Department staff to go for some tactical medicine training, to come back and be trainers, and also get a moulage or like fancy makeup kits to do more realistic EMS training. So that's will be some recent purchases.
Cool. And then
Very cool.
And then you've been involved in a radio upgrade for Union County, right? And
yes.
And that's also from external funds.
Yes, so
correct?
that's about $2 million, or exactly $2 million in federal funds, and that was congressionally directed spending. So Senators Wyden and Merkley were very instrumental in securing that funding for us and getting it written into a federal spending bill. So that we were able to get that for our radio system.
Okay, and just briefly tell us what does that involve with the radio system?
So that's a dangerous question, just asking me about radios. Everybody else rolls their eyes like, "Oh, Nick's talking about radios again."
I mean, you've done it on this show before, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'd say, simply put, we're replacing all of the electronics associated with our radio system. So everything from dispatch to the tops of the mountains.
Okay.
Because essentially it's computers. That stuff gets old. Fans can only turn so many hundreds of thousands of times or millions of times before they stop. And computers wear out. So replacing all the radios, the antennas, all the cabling, basically everything except the metal towers and the buildings is getting replaced.
Wow. That's awesome.
It is.
Well, and and thank you for doing that. I mean, and it's
my job.
Yeah, no, and how cool it is. All right, well, anything else you want to talk about before we quit? Anything we've missed?
No, I don't.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys, thanks so much for being here, and it's always a pleasure, Nick, to have you. And you and I are geeky in the tech. I mean, you and I could spend a lot of time talking about radios, because it's so funny not funny, but it's interesting that even in what we do, and I can imagine what it is, the communication part of it. Okay, so Gabe being able to talk back to us in our ear and talk back and forth, that it's always the thing that you think about last, but it is so critical to what's happening in the whole realm of things, the communication process. You can have a whole bunch of gear and a whole bunch of equipment to rescue somebody, but if you can't talk to each other or communicate what it is that's needed, then things break down really quickly. So
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And that's whenever we debrief after a call, it seems that it's rarely a call that it's not like what was something that we could improve on. And communications, almost without fail, is something that comes up.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you thanks so much for being here.
Yeah.
You want to get us out of here?
Yeah, that's crazy how like communication is so important in every aspect of life. Like it doesn't matter what we're, and we keep getting worse and worse at it. That's the crazy part. On this day, the 25th of June, 1672, is the first recorded monthly Quaker meeting. It's held in Sandwich, Massachusetts. 1876, this was a big event. The Battle of Little Bighorn. The U.S. 7th Cavalry under Brevet Major General George Armstrong Custer is wiped out by the Sioux and Cheyenne warriors and is become famously known as Custer's Last Stand. 1929, U.S. President Herbert Hoover authorizes the building of the Hoover Dam. 1950, I think this day is a very big day in history. 1950, what do you think happened on this day in 1950, BC? Somebody invaded somebody.
1950.
And we were involved.
1950.
Yeah, what war started in
Well,
1950?
it had to have been the Korean War.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
South Korea is invaded by North Korea on this
Interesting.
day in 1950. 1951, the first color TV broadcast. It's a musical variety special titled Premiere from CBS New York to a network of 5 East Coast cities. Very first color TV on network TV. Yeah. 1978, the first use of the rainbow flag symbol of gay pride happens in San Francisco by Gilbert Baker. 2021, on this day, a new type of ancient human announced Nesher Ramla Homo lived 140,000 years ago. A possible ancestor of Neanderthals is uncovered in Ramla, Israel. I really like those ones. Those are like and this next one too. 2022, on this day, a 30,000-year-old intact, completely intact remains of a baby woolly mammoth is found frozen in permafrost in Yukon, Canada. A 30,000-year-old baby wool. Could you imagine finding that?
Yeah.
You're like Ice Age in real life.
Right.
It would be, yeah. On this day in 1994, the #1 movie in America, The Lion King. And then the quote of the day comes from William Arthur Ward. When we seek to discover the best in others, we somehow bring out the best in ourselves. One more time. When we seek to discover the best in others, we somehow bring out the best in ourselves.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we got going on the rest of the week?
So on Thursday, we have some guests talking about at the
fireworks. Celeste Tate from, well, she's coming on. She's not coming on in her official capacity. She's coming on as a member of the board of Thunder at the Peak.
Right.
So we'll talk about the fireworks show and everything involved with that.
And 4th of July is next Thursday, right? I think it is.
It's about
a
little less
Thank
than 2
you.
weeks
Yeah.
away, right?
The fire department would know about that, right?
Yeah, you would hope.
Yeah. That's right. All right. Well, hey, thank you guys for being here.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Yep. All righty.
See you on Thursday.
Yep. See you soon.